Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the JavaScript Beginners Tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 14, where I'll be showing you guys about different kind of methods in array. So we do have already learned about what an array is, how you will be able to store different kind of data types inside your array. So we'll be learning different kind of methods which will give you up a different outcome over here inside. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here on my screen, as you guys can see again at the JavaScript file. And now I will just come here and let me name this one as array methods. Okay, so I will just name this one as array methods. And let me just comment this thing out and let's come down over here. And from here, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys by making a new variable. So let me just type let, and now let me just name my array. Okay, let's name this one as diff elements. Okay, so I will just name this one as diff elements. Let's put equal to, and now let's open up my square bracket. And inside this one, I'm going to put different kind of data types. Okay, so let me just open double parenthesis. Let me just type Nicholas. Let's come here. Let's put double quote. And over here now, let's type board. Let's come here, and over here now let me also put few numbers. Okay, and also I will put out a null, and over here let me just put out a boolean value as well. So you guys can just put anything whatever you want. So as you guys can see over here, I do have already created up an array. So over here now let me show you guys about different kind of array methods. Okay, so over here, the first method that we're gonna talk about over here is you guys need to make sure that you mention the name, which is diff elements dot length. Okay, so over here you guys can see diff elements dot length, and what it's going to do is it's going to print you guys the length of how many objects are over here inside this div length. So for that, now let me just go with console.log, and let's type console.log. Let's open parenthesis over here, and let's close out the parenthesis. Let's close this down with a semicolon as well. Control S to save it. And if you just go back to your console, here you guys can see it's showing you the answer of 5, which means that the length of your array is basically 5. Okay, so here you guys can use this particular method, which is dot length. So now let's come over here and let's try to see the use of my okay, different lengths dot pop. So for that, now let's come over here again, and over here now if I just type the name, which is diff elements dot pop. Okay, so let me just come here and let me just type dot pop. So what this particular thing will basically do is it will just come over here and it will just pop out the last element inside your array. So the last element inside this particular array is false. Okay, so if I just come over here and now I will just type console.log, and I will just name what I do want to print, which is the variable called different elements. Okay, so I will just come over here and now Control S to save it. And if I just come over here, you guys can see it's showing me the option like here. Now it's showing me that there are four objects. And here in the four objects, I do have Nicholas, board 23, and null. And I don't have the last object right over here, which was false inside this different elements array. Okay, so this is the usage of different like this is the use of the dot pop method. So I will just comment this thing out and let's come down over here and let's try to check out other elements as well. Okay, so the other element which we're gonna talk over here is, let's come here, let's copy this thing out, Control C. Let's come here, Control V dot, and I'm going to use called push. Okay, so if I just use the method called push, and over here now I can basically add up a element inside. Let's say I want to add out a string. So over here I can just type Nathan. Okay, so let's say I do want to add Nathan over here and Control S to save it. Now let's come here. You guys can see now the total number of elements is basically 6. Okay, and here Nathan is also being added inside the different elements array. Okay, so this is the usage of the dot push method. So let me just come here, Control slash to comment this thing out. This is the use, and let me just type again different elements and let me show you guys about a different method known as shift. Okay, so if I just come here and if I just type dot shift, let's open parenthesis over here, and now I will just close this thing down with a semicolon, Control S to save it. And now if I just go to my browser, here you guys can basically see that here it had removed the first object which I had. Okay, so over here they have basically removed the first object which I had over here, and here it's showing me that board 23 null and false is present, but the first element which I had over here in my array, which was Nicholas, is absent. Okay, so using this dot shift method, you guys can basically work quite like this. So now let me just show you guys similar to that, or you guys can also say it just the opposite, which is known as unshift. Okay, so if I just come here and if I just type unshift, okay, and instead of doing it quite like this, if I come over here and let me mention that I want to keep this thing constant. Okay, so over here now I will just type const. Okay, and let me just give it up a space which is different elements. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to type over here a new variable which is new length. Okay, so I will just type new length is equal to the length of diffelms dot unshift. And as I'm going to add another object, let's say I will come here, let's open double parenthesis, and I will just type Valen. Okay, so I just want to add Valen inside this number. And now here, what will happen is basically you guys can see now I do have all the elements over here, which is in total 5 elements inside my array. And first I'm just printing out the number or the length. And after that, I'm telling here that there is a variable called new length. Okay, which is going to be equals to double elements dot unshift, that it will add Valen as well inside this, which will become 6. Okay, so now Control S to save it. And if you just take out a look, you guys can see now I had first 5 elements and now the number of elements is 6, and Valen is being added at first instead of being added at last using the push method. Okay, so over here we do have used the unshift method, and this is how you guys can use this one over here as well. So now from here, let's go to the web. Okay, and from here, if I just clear out my console, let me show you guys some of the methods, array methods over here as well. So if I just type console dot log, and if I just come here and if I just name diff elements dot toString, so what it will do is basically it will turn all the elements which are present inside this particular array will basically turn into a string. So if I just click on enter here, it's showing me an error, but here let's go with diff elements dot toString. Okay, so here you guys can see, and if I click on enter here, you guys can see it showing me the native code. And the thing which I do have missed over here is, let's come here, let's copy this thing again. I do need to put out a parenthesis at last. Okay, so over here, let's put out the parenthesis, and if I click on enter here, you guys can see it's been turned into this particular statement. Okay, so over here now the same thing, if I just come here and let's type diff elements, okay, this particular array, and if I just type dot sort, okay, if you want to sort all of your objects, let's come here, and if I just click on enter here, you guys can see it is just sorting out all the elements which I had inside. So first it's putting the number, then I do have the string, then the boolean value, and lastly I do have the null. Okay, so the same way, so to make you guys understand it in a better way, let's come here and let's type t is equal to, let's create an array. Okay, and let me just type 1 or 1 8 9 4 6, and if I just close this particular array, and if I just come down over here, okay, let me just come down over here, and if I just give the command t dot sort, okay, so over here now I do have commanded t dot sort, and if I click on enter here, you guys can see it is just sorting me all these numbers accordingly. So first come 1, then come 4, then come 6, then comes 8, and then comes 9. So you guys can sort it, and also with the use of the strings as well. Basically it turns into a string. You will understand that if you do have double digits over here. Okay, so yeah, I hope this class was clear, and there are a lot of more arrays inside which you guys can go into your web, and if anywhere you just type array methods in JavaScript, you guys will get different kind of websites from where you guys can get access to those arrays, and like you guys can get access to those array methods and can use it in your work. So yeah, I hope this class was clear. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye.